Well, hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and we are on episode 18 of Natsume's Book of Friends, or Natsume Yujin-Cho, and man, season two's been great. There's been lots of cute yokai, like the cute factor has risen, the BL factor has risen, lots of factors have risen, but it's just been like such a soft comfort show, and I think that's why I kind of gravitate towards it now. I'm about to finish Uramichi Oni-san as I'm recording this, and that's been kind of like my, oh, when you watch something dramatic, you need to watch something soft. And so now that Uramichi Oni-san is ending, I feel like Natsume is going to kind of like wiggle into that space for me. So if I record ahead, you'll know why. Also, we have a lot of Natsume content to get through, so can you blame me? Now, this week we're going to be watching episode 18. Next week, we are going to have a two-parter. We're going to have episodes 19 and 20 together. The moderators have told me that it would be beneficial to watch those two episodes together, so that sounds fun. So I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about watching episodes 19 and 20 together, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to. But in the meantime, I do have a couple comments that I want to point out. I've got my stand over here with my notes, and I have a couple comments that I want to point out before we start this episode. One is they're kind of related to one another, which I thought was kind of cool. One is from Doily, and they were talking about the end of season 1, how Tanama and the Fujiwaras kind of both work simultaneously as a support network for Natsume, which I totally agree with. I liked the way they phrased it as the Fujiwaras, they give Natsume that kind of being able to be a kid with a family sort of relief. Like they treat him like he's their son, and he kind of gets that kind of support network through them in that respect. But then I also liked how they noted that Tanama kind of provides Natsume with a little bit of comfort and relief as well in terms of the yokai, because even though Tanama can't see them, he still understands that Natsume can, and he respects him, he accepts him because of it. And it's just like you have your family and your friend circle and that kind of comfort and safety zone that Natsume needs, and they both provide that for him. But then Zuriel Joseph added on to that, talking about how Tanama, what's interesting is Tanama kind of regrets or is sad that he can't see yokai, which is such a fun twist because Natsume has lamented that he's been able to see yokai this whole time, and so you kind of see the other way, shape, or form. And Tanama's wanting to see the yokai is to help Natsume feel better, not necessarily because it'd be cool like Sasada. So yeah, I'm very interested to see what we get from this coming episode and what ends up happening. I'm very, very excited to see about it. So we'll just have to wait and see. But we're not going to waste any more time. I'm super excited. I hope you all are as well. Thank you so much for the comments, everybody, and the support. I really, really appreciate it. But we are going to start Natsume's Book of Friends. And I'm going to get my headphones all together. And we are going to look at episode 18. So excited. And we are going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Okay, good. I'm sorry. It timed out, and so it had to start over, and I was like, okay. But I swear, the streaming service I'm watching this through, they keep on starting it at the English dub, and I have nothing against the English dub. I'm sure it's delightful, but I'm like, I wish that it would base it off your browser history, because I've been watching the sub, and so every episode I have to remind myself, oh, I need to go back and change it to the Japanese sub, otherwise they'll start on the English, and I'm like, so. For Sasada being so grumpy, she hasn't been seen much this season so far. Look at the tiny Madara. We haven't met her yet, but we have seen Notori. Long shot party. Sasaji, I wonder what that means. I love that transition. That's so good. We haven't seen much with Reiko either this season, so that'll be interesting. We have seen some of these other spirits, though. Yeah. Notori just looks like a mob boss. Interesting. Notori looks like a mob boss that's like got his yakuza surrounding him, and they're the yokai. Nessie, Lapras, UFOs, Goku's Island, or Roshi's Island. What's happening? Snowboarding. We know this guy named Longa who's from Canada. Are you daydreaming about snowboarding too, bro? We've been talking about a snowboarding trip, bro. Haven't been sleeping much lately. I've been helping out yokai. Oh. Oh, what blue eyes. It's like a kid Elder Toguro. But there's nobody there. So they're yokai. Oh, that was a cool transition. Yeah. Tree of Promises. What is this animation? Is it supposed to be... You're just getting fatter, Madara. Ooh. I know that feeling. When are you going to get it? He's eating the other one. Is it the spirit? It's so cute. He's so cute. Oh. What a klutz. Madara, you shouldn't be talking. Madara looks like he's going to interrogate him. What do you know, kid? Well, yeah, but you're a yokai. Did you think that he was Reiko? Oh, it's so creepy! What is this? What is this? Natsume's like, well, that's one interrogation strategy. I'm glad we're dealing with yokai. Oh, yep, Reiko. Yeah. Oh. Slurp. Yeah, awkward. Oh, no. Oh, no. Did they like Reiko? That is the creepiest animation for Madara. You could have just said that from the start. Oh, whiny and gloomy. Is there no name there, though? This kid could speak up and make this a lot simpler. There's no page. Oh, knowing Reiko, that's possible. Why not? What do you mean it's somewhere else? Yeah! In 50 years. Wow. Oh. Drop the sun. Oh, that deep voice. Ooh. That's such kind of mean. Oh. Oh, that is kind of sad. I mean, they should be able to see the contract, right? Because they can both see... Oh, God. Oh. Yeah. So it could be up in the tree. Huh. A lot. So what are you gonna do? Oh my God, Madara! Why don't you turn into, like, your true form and help him? But why do they want it back? That was... Well, that was the quickest turnaround. But why did you want it back? Natsume's like, it's a little problematic that you just instantly accepted that it was okay that it was gone. Madara. Oh. I happen to be an avid tree climber. Or have binoculars. Fantastic. And a telescope. Oh, speaking of which. Aw. Why? Why? Oh my God! Oh my God! Amazing. Aww. Right, they just think they're looking for a piece of paper tied to a tree. We can let them run around while we go off by ourselves. It's not really clear who Natsume would be interested in, though. So, Tanama, you might be okay. Oh. Oh. Oh, hey! This ugly thing! Is that blush on your face? Madara, you have a crush on Hinoe? I think that's... Oh. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, dang. Oh, no, because he's sick. Oh. Oh, yes, you would grab him. Oh. 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 He's not the type that would do that. You didn't want them to worry. Oh. Oh. What is this yokai's deal? What's the deal? Oh. Don't discredit his work he did for you. Yeah. Oh, Hinoe, nice. Nice. Nice, Hinoe. Damn. Oh, and she doesn't like men, so the fact that yokai is male presenting. Yes, that's a great description. He's like Reiko in that way. He doesn't understand something, but he'll push forward anyway. Ah. Huh. Huh. Ah! And how'd that manage to go for you? But since she's a girl, maybe not. I'm just beating up yokai. Wow. 3 guys or 3 yokai? That laugh! Oh. Ah. I don't like creepy things. Oh. Ooh. Oh my god! And she's gonna beat you up. Oh. Oh. Oh shit, girl! Girl's got aim! Oh, well, that would be enough for her to, that would be enough for her to win her over. Yeah. What a quirky, peculiar girl. Because she wanted to. Huh. Huh. There we go. Ha! 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 But it worked. Struck by the love struck. Love it. What'd you just call me? Love it. Love it. Yeah, which is interesting. Oh, so we got its name. Ah. Oh. Oh. Uh. Oh. Yeah. Interesting. I wonder why. Huh. Uh-huh. Wait, what? Oh. Ah, so she was joking with him. Yeah, yeah, I got amazing in the middle there. Mm-hmm. She definitely tricked you. Yep. Huh. Yeah, kind of. I mean, no, but why would she do that? Hmm. Yeah, what was the lesson? What was the reason behind her hiding it from him? So he couldn't see it. Because it doesn't seem like the gesture seems mean, but then her action of getting the hairpin doesn't seem mean at all. Hmm. Don't get up and go look for names. But that's what he's gonna do. Ha! That's really funny. Don't do it. Nope. What did I just tell you? Uh. Uh. Why'd she put it on that tree, though? I mean, that tree probably did grow in 50 years. Huh. Is it to go see the ocean from the top of the tree? Is it so he'll be able to see the ocean from the top of the tree because he can't leave the forest? Yeah. Oh. Shut up. Oh, my heart. Oh. 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 Now you can see both their eyes. Uh. fine. Damn. Oh my god. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right? Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's so good. Yes, please. Yes, please. So good. Oh, that is so good. Damn. Damn, y'all. I started tearing up there at the end. Oh. My soul. That touched my soul. I don't know what to tell y'all. Oh. Man. I am... that was really interesting. I have some thoughts in my head swirling around about Reiko, but I want to wait till we get to the discussion for it. Good to know that Sasada is not, you know, written off in this season. She is there doing things. I don't know if they're anime only or not, but it doesn't matter at this moment. We'll touch base with the manga with it for sure. Oh, man. Well. Y'all, I am so excited about this. Well. I had a lot I wanted to say during the ED, and then I'm like, no, then I'll take up the ED, and I won't have time to discuss it out here. I need to, like, gather my thoughts, but what an interesting episode. I'm glad we're finally getting more into Reiko. We talked about that in the OP. I'm glad that we're kind of getting more into her psychology. I know, the thing about it is, we have, like, 6 seasons coming on 7 starting later this year of this show, and we're only on season 2. So when a show is like this, and it's pretty straightforward. It's Natsume giving back the names of the yokai and learning about his grandmother. That's a pretty simple concept. So I have no doubt over the course of these mini seasons that we're going to have Natsume discovering things about his grandmother, maybe discovering things about his own parents, maybe discovering things about other people. There will probably be other people that can see yokai that we get introduced to. We'll probably have stuff with the Exorcist and Notori that we deal with. Like, I have no doubt that the mangaka is going to find things to do with Natsume and the story. But it's very interesting because it's all given to us like a slow IV drip. You just get like a few crumbs, a slow IV drip. It's just like the doot, doot, doot. And that's all you're going to get. But it's such a chill show that you're like, okay. When we got this first image, because we know now it's kind of set the stage that the image, the first one we see is like what the episode's going to be about. I was like, why do we have, it looked like a children's drawing, like with Nessie, and which is supposed to be the dinosaur, and the island, and the UFO, and I was kind of like, are we going to go to a classroom? Are we going to, like, go to the beach? Is this a beach episode? No, it's not a beach episode. We don't go to a classroom. We don't go to the island with UFOs and the Brachiosaurus, but instead, we get a little insight into Rei, and we also learn that Madara is an unreliable narrator. As if we didn't know that before. Madara is a big old damn tsundere cat trickster. Of course he's an unreliable narrator, but it's nice to have the show kind of confirm it for us and be like, oh, okay. Now we know Natsume can't quite trust Madara on everything he says about Reiko, right? I love the idea that we start out this episode with the bro friends talking about snowboarding, man. Snowboarding. Skate the Infinity Season 2, man. Nothing better than viewing the snow-capped mountains on a journey by rail. So they're just wanting to go up to northern Japan, right? to go snowboarding. It's like, dude, you sound like you're 60. Natsume, what do you think? I like that Natsume gets cornered by his two guy friends who constantly have like arguments with one another. And Natsume at some point should just be like, if you guys want to go like make out in a hallway, it might do you some good. But I did get a little worried in this episode at the very beginning, because when he sees the boy on the bridge and he seems to be daydreaming and the friends are like, hey, what's up? And he's like, oh, I'm just not sleeping very good and all this. And I don't feel very good. That was like a sign right there and then that he was sick. And he just didn't want to say anything about it to the friends. And the friends find out later. But when we had this first initial interaction, I thought that Natsume was just daydreaming and that he was just kind of not sleeping because he's giving the yokai their names back. And I thought the friends were going to start to be like, oh, Natsume's weird. And that's kind of been the nice thing, is that Natsume has friends he can count on to not judge him. And I was getting a little worried that maybe the friends would judge him. But by the end of this episode, when they realized he was sick, they're like, oh, well, he didn't say anything to us. And so I feel like all of them at one point or another are going to have an intervention with Natsume and be like, hey, you can tell us if you don't feel good or if you can't hang out. We will understand. But you need to trust us that we're not going to judge you and that it's okay. And I feel like Natsume needs to do that, because I don't think they would judge him if he would just be honest. But again, baby steps with Natsume. Baby steps. And so then he like runs his hand through his hair, and that's when he sees the boy on the bridge. I like the boy on the bridge. His like eye becomes more noticeable after we get the confirmation of Reiko's promise to him that gets fulfilled. So then, okay, Madara is eating this thing called yokon, and I want to know what yokon is. It looked like it was chocolate, but I was like, what is it? Okay, it's a wagashi, or Japanese confection, made of red bean paste, agar, and sugar. Oh, the pictures that I see on this website show it as like little squares, not big chunks. I couldn't decide if it was a chocolate bar or bacon. Because it was kind of like the color of bacon, but then it looked like a chocolate bar, but then it was wiggling, and I'm like, is it Jell-O? But it's like firm, like confectionery red bean paste. I'm like, okay. I've got some Japanese snacks from a patron gave me like a subscription to like a little sort of like monthly box of Japanese snacks, and I got something with red bean paste in it, and it wasn't bad. I liked it. It was okay. I noticed that a lot of Japanese confection have red bean paste, which if that is something you have prominent in your country, I don't blame you. So it's kind of like corn. In the Midwest, there's lots of corn, so we can do lots of things with it. When Natsume, though, said, whenever Madara was like, hey, you know, you don't look like you feel good, and he's like, well, I took some medicine. It's fine as long as I relax. I have had to condition myself on this channel as a content creator to not think like Natsume does in this moment, because I have had many days where I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to record X, Y, and Z, and I got up that morning and felt awful. But you feel this guilt because you're like, oh, well, but I already scheduled this stuff for today and it really needs to get done and I need to work through it. And instead, the mentality should be like, if you don't feel good, you need to rest. Otherwise, it's just going to become chronic or get worse. And so kind of me recording ahead is in some part to be where, like, if I have those days, which I did have like a week or so ago, I just had a big migraine when I woke up and I was like, oh, I can't do this. And so I luckily had recorded ahead and I felt comfortable being like, okay, I'm going to take the morning off and I'm going to get to feeling better and go from there. And that's such a luxury to have. And Natsume, you know, he should take better care of himself in that regard. But I get the thought. He's like, no, I can do it. It's fine. I don't want to be a bother to anybody. And it's like, well, you're not being a bother if you take care of yourself. And so then Madara's like, well, somebody's been watching us. I like this klutzy yokai, though, that one thing that's never really established is why they can't leave the forest. The thing about yokai are that they're all so diverse and different, and there's such special and unique circumstances to each and every one of them. Maybe there is a reason they can't leave the forest, and it's just something that the spirit doesn't want to talk about. And then the two of them are like, I don't know. And they're like, did you want the Book of Friends? And then, I'm sorry, but this creepy little way that Madara's like, he just like skirts up to him. And then when he's like, like crawling up him, it's the creepiest thing. And then he bites him, and that's when the yokai speaks up. And he asks if Natsume is Reiko. And the poor yokai, he's just kind of frozen in shock, and then he understands that he's Reiko's grandson. I like that Madara describes Natsume as whiny and gloomy. Like, I don't know if I would describe Natsume as whiny. Maybe gloomy sometimes, but Madara is pot calling the kettle black if he's going to call him whiny. So, apparently, we get some world building that as long as your name has been written on a page of the book, even if the page is not in the book, which that opens up a world of possibilities, it just means the book will respond. So that's interesting. So what's fascinating is Madara had made the note being like, Madara's like, I'm not telling you if my name's in there or not. But even if I thought, at first when he said that, the Natsume could just check the page number. I'm like, well, just find Madara's name in the book. But if Reiko tore it out and put it somewhere else, then there's no finding it in the book. It's like, oh. So that opens up a host of possibilities that Reiko could have tore a page out, stuffed it in a box, and buried it 6 feet under somewhere to hide a name. We don't know. So that does lead to a lot of possibilities, which is interesting that we have that going on in this. So I don't know. But the spirit's like, oh, well, I don't know if you could find it. It's on a tree branch somewhere from 50 years ago. I am glad that the yokai ended up, like, helping him find it. And then Tanama and the others trying to help, too. I love Tanama just comes in and is like, hey, how's it going, Natsume? Couldn't help but notice you're walking around these woods by yourself with your talking cat. Mm-hmm. And again, I just love that Tanama is trying to help him. And also, Tanama's voice, especially when it's like that deep register. Hello, how you doing? Sounded very good. So yeah, but they decide to look around. They have the binoculars and the little telescope, which is really cool, the magnifying glass. And then I like that Tanama looks over to Natsume when Natsume's like smiling at the yokai, and he's like, if only I could see them. Which is so interesting. But I feel like Tanama, being our romantic would-be BL ship, he wants to be able to be a part of, he wants to be part of his world, part of Natsume's world. And Natsume's like, why would you want that? And Tanama's like, well, because I could share it with you. And I'm like, the most romantic thing. Also, what's interesting is Tanama is dead certain that Natsume is heterosexual and he'd be jealous if the yokai was a woman. And I'm like, have we established Natsume having any sexuality? Natsume is not like typical teenage boys. Natsume does not seem to be attracted to any girl, necessarily. We've not seen him blush around any girl yokai at all, to my knowledge. Doesn't seem that interested. I'm not meaning to say that says anything about his sexuality, but there's like no confirmation of anything. And the thing about it is, it's a female mangaka. She might not be thinking that that's anything relevant to tell. Why does it matter? They're just a bunch of teenagers. And Natsume's like, speaking of girls, I do love, again, I don't know if this is an anime-only scene or not, or if Sasada was called from another town to come help, but the idea of Sasada, like, bossing around the two guys to look in the trees for the piece of paper is kind of hilarious. They're just like the Three Stooges. And Tanama's like, hey, you want to go somewhere else? Tanama's like, I'm going to distract Sasada, cock blocker, and then take him off somewhere else. And that's where we're going to go. And I'm like, well, that all makes sense. That's funny. So yeah, and so they go up the hill, and he's like, they don't even know they're looking for something for a yokai. And then I like the idea that Natsume's like, well, it's just that everyone's trying to help me find this, and that's really nice. And so Hinoe shows up with Madara. Look, do I maintain that Madara may have had something for Reiko? I do. I'm not going to change my stance on that. But I like to multi-ship. And so I kind of ship Madara and Hinoe in a weird way. Not, like, barely. I know she doesn't like guys. She doesn't normally like male-presenting yokai or humans. She was all about Reiko. But maybe Madara and her can share in their mutual love of Reiko. And it's like a triangle, and the two of them can commiserate together. I just like them as a pair because Hinoe gives Madara a lot of grief. And Madara, like, he's like, oh, how dare you? But then he goes out and finds her. So it's like, they kind of work together as a pair, and I kind of like it. But I told her some idiots were doing some idiotic things, and we should go call them idiots. What a bunch of... He's like, that sounds like you. He's like, don't thank me, it makes me sick. And then Hinoe's like, well, you're a little boy yokai, and I'm not really into it, but, you know, it's fine. But that's the truth of it, isn't it? And Natsume's like, well, don't be mean to him. You know, it's okay. So then he falls, and you can see he has that blush on his face, but it's just his face getting hot. And then Tanuma grabs him and saves him from... When he slipped on the rock, I thought he was going to fall backwards and hit his head on it. Thankfully, that doesn't happen. Instead, Tanuma saves him, which, good deal. But I like this moment where they're all gathered outside of the house, and Toko comes out, because, one, it shows to Toko that Natsume does have friends. You know, it's not just him saying it, you know, to make her feel better. He does have a friend circle, and they did care enough about him to stick around until he was all, you know, had some medicine, was laying down. But also, it's kind of a moment where they all kind of have like a mini intervention planning session together, where she's like, it's fine, he's just going to take some medicine. And they're like, well, we're sorry, we didn't know something was wrong. And then they're like, his fever's down, he took some medicine, so it'll be a good start. Rest will cure him. I'll make him stay home from school tomorrow to be safe. And Sasada's like, well, I'll make sure that the school knows. And Tanuma's like, well, if only he'd said something. Like, Tanuma's like, you know, why didn't he say he was sick? Why did he keep pressing on? Doesn't he trust us as his friends? And Toko's like, yeah, I agree. And it's just, I feel like maybe all of them are starting to figure out that Natsume's not telling them things, and maybe they're wondering why. So I wonder at some point if they're going to have this intervention and be like, hey, why are you not telling us about, you know, about you not feeling good? Or why are you keeping things from us? We're your friends and family. You should feel like you can talk to us. And I wonder if Natsume's going to respond to that, or going to be like, oh, well, I don't want to be. And I feel like Natsume has to get the speech of, it's okay to be a bother. That means we care about you. So it's okay if you don't feel good and you let us know. I don't know what Madara's thing with this little, like, it looks like an exercise thing or a rice cooker as he's watching TV. Ridiculous. And I like that the yokai give him another little wet rag, and they're like, you work too hard. And at first, the little yokai says it's his fault and that Natsume's like this. And I like that Hinoe is like, don't discount the work that Natsume has done to try to find something you care about. Hinoe's like, that's not doing Natsume a service. That's just, you know, being kind of disrespectful to the hard work he's put in. And Hinoe's like, I won't take that. Think about Natsume's feelings. I like that Hinoe is like defending Natsume and like standing up for him. I love it. I love it. And then we get some backstory into Hinoe being like, he's not great at relating to people, but he'll push himself for them at times. That's how him and Reiko are similar. I love that. I love the idea that Reiko and Natsume, as we come to find out, at least from Hinoe's perspective, Reiko and Natsume, they both didn't really like yokai, and they don't really know. The difference I feel is that Reiko has stated she doesn't like people, but she doesn't really care for yokai. She just, you know, finds maybe yokai more tolerable than people, or has had better experiences with them, and she can control yokai. She can't control people, right? But Reiko seems like the type of person from Hinoe's perspective that if you need something of her, she'll want to help you in some way, shape, or form, or think of a way to do it. And we'll talk about that with the flashback here and with the tree. Whereas Natsume, I don't think it's that Natsume hates people or hates yokai. I think that he's just kind of like accepting of people and yokai. He just hates the fact that him being able to see the yokai makes it difficult for him to interact with people. But I do think that there is a difference between Reiko and Natsume still. But I like that we get the similarity that if someone's in trouble, both Natsume and Reiko would be willing to help them to make things better. But I love the idea of Hinoe under this tree, and she meets Reiko for the first time, and she decides she thinks Reiko thinks that she's a girl, a human girl for a second, and she's like, will you help me out of the forest? And Hinoe's like, sure. And then as she's like, well, I'll play a trick on her and lead her to the forest and get her lost. And it almost seemed like Reiko was trying to think of like a solution in case if this was a trick. So, and because she kind of lets go, she's like, hey, I'm staying with some family. I beat up 3 guys, so I ended up here. The beating up 3 guys thing is not only funny because Reiko's like kind of a delinquent, but it's also kind of funny because it almost seems like she's suggesting to the yokai, hey, I beat these guys up. Maybe you shouldn't mess with me and just let me get out of the forest so no one gets hurt, without saying it. But this line here where she says she's staying with family and doesn't want to cause trouble for them, that is a little piece of information as well, because the Reiko from the start that Madara talks about was like hated people, never felt welcomed, didn't feel like she belonged. And here it kind of seems like she's okay with her living situation as far as we know. And she's like, people are hard to deal with, so I don't like them much. And they're like, and then Hinoe is like, well, do you prefer monsters and yokai? And she says, I don't like creepy things. Doesn't necessarily mean that she doesn't like yokai or monsters. She just doesn't like creepy things. And so Hinoe is like, And then she's like, by the way, what are you like? She's like, no human alive likes yokai. And I feel like that's not necessarily true. I think Natsume, I think he's moving towards liking them. And so at this point she's like, oh, are you a yokai? And Hinoe's like, well, shit, I am. But before she's able to like pounce on Rei, these crows come in and try to steal her hairpin. And then she's like, well, they've always tried to steal it and I just want it back. And then Reiko is the most extra. She not only chucks a log at a crow and hits it, which is a feat in itself, but then she dives in like a free Iwatobi Swim Club finalist in a relay and freestyles her way to that pin, dives down, opens her eyes underwater and finds it. Girl, what? And then brings it back. Like, girl's talented. I don't know if Natsume would have that talent to do that. But she's like, you're a yokai, right? She's like, help me out of the forest if you want it back. And in that moment, I think the cleverness and the prowess that Reiko showed, and the fact that she helped her despite being a yokai, was just like, it was a Boa Hancock heart beam right into Hinoe, and it was over. And she was done at that point. It was over. She was like, I can't do any more. Nope. And she's like, no matter how many times I think of it, I can't help but falling in love. And then Madara's like, well, I don't understand why you fall in love with that story. And I'm like, Madara, you just don't understand romance, sir. She's like, it's too complicated for an ugly, fat-faced cat to comprehend. He's like, who you calling fat-faced? So that's when Natsume's like, wait. He's like, oh, so she did that to help you. And that was all for your benefit. He's like, that's different than the Reiko that I thought. And so then Natsume's like, well, so Reiko threatened if you take the contract, the seas would swell and destroy the world, right? And the spirit is like, well, that's because I wanted to see it, that she said that. I've known nothing but the forest my whole life, but I can't leave. He's like, I just can't leave the forest because I was born here. So that yokai has a specific condition that keeps it from leaving. And Natsume's like, so you've never seen the sea, but Reiko's told you about it. And the spirit's like, I've always wanted to see it, but Reiko told me that it had like dinosaurs around it and UFOs. And they're like, yeah. Madara's like, that sounds like a trick that Reiko would do. But Natsume's like, now I figured it out. I know what's going to happen. He's like, my fever goes down. I'm going to help you go find your name. So his fever breaks. And of course, I like that Madara's like, you probably shouldn't go. But Natsume's like, no. I liked when the two yokai like moved around the Fujiwara around Toko. And they like wished her goodbye as they went up to find Natsume. They're like so nice to her in that moment. So nice. So they say they found it. And so Kirinoa is the name of the yokai. And I wonder what Kirinoa means. Kirinoa meaning. Kirinoa. What does it mean? It means bellflower. Okay, cool. It means bellflower. So when we find the tree, and the moment that Kirinoa started to climb up it, and you start to see the sky break open, I was like, the sea is going to be up there. Natsume put that up on the branch so that even after she was gone, Kirino would be able to see the... And obviously, she probably said 50 years to give the tree an extra head start to growing, so that by the time the tree had grown for 50 years, it would be tall enough to see the ocean. Well, it's a good thing they didn't cut it down, or that it wasn't struck by lightning. Am I right? It's a good thing it didn't get struck by lightning or tore down. That would have sucked. But it all worked out. And when you got to, and I like the Hinoe says that, you know, for 50 years for yokai isn't that long. So, although Madara says a long time ago, every time he says that Reiko died, he says a long time ago. Note of that. But whenever Kinanoa gets to the top of the tree, it's grown over those 50 years, and he can look up and see out and see the ocean. That got me. That, like, my eyes started misting up. I was like, all of it welled up inside of me. I was like, oh, because that gesture and being able to show Kinanoa, and that's the tree of promise. That's the promise made between them. Oh my gosh. And that was her way of helping him. Right? Am I right? So yeah, but I love that so much. Yep. So I did get like a little brief moment because we have this giant tree growing and then it leads to being able to see the sea. All I'll say is that it was giving me Attack on Titan vibes, and to have Attack on Titan vibes while watching Natsume's Book of Friends is a very weird feeling. I was like, oh, okay. But he gets to go up there and see the top of it, and Natsume's like, yep, that's what she did it for. I love that. I love that. And then the hair comes back and you can see both eyes. Oh, it's so cool. He's like, Reiko. So I believe that this may affect Natsume's opinions of Reiko just slightly. Just slightly, which is interesting. I'm very excited that we're going to get more of Reiko and Natsume understanding his grandmother more and more as we go. I'm really excited about that. That should be a good time. But then he gives Kinoa their name back. And he says, well, it's kind of sad now it's all over. And Natsume's like, no. What you see and feel and all your memories you have, they won't disappear. No matter what happens, you're going to have these memories. And you'll be able to take them with you along with future memories as well. You shouldn't think of it as a sad thing. So then he becomes Ferris Bueller, gets back under the sheets and like takes care, like gets his pants off, his shirt off, and gets back under the seats. But he is not as smooth as Ferris Bueller, because I believe that Toko, whenever she looked down at his feet, she saw that he had like the sock like halfway on his foot. So I think she knows. I think she knows what was going on, that he did get up and move around. Yep. Oh, that was such a good episode. I really, really enjoyed that. That was nice. Just a nice little simple episode. But the thing I liked most about it was, one, we got more Hinoe backstory. I forgot that we didn't get Hinoe and Reiko flashbacks from the episode that she was in season 1. I forgot about that because her name hasn't been given back yet. Her and Mitsuru are still there, able to work for Natsume. Forgot about that. So I thought that was interesting. I loved the concept of learning more about Reiko and about her actual personality, or at least facets of it. So that was exciting as well. And the little cute spirit Kinoa was so cute and adorable, very humanoid, which is fun. The yokai are interesting because some of them are humanoid like Hinoe and Kinanoa, and then some of them are very like monstrous in their appearance. So it's all very fun and different. But yeah, and then seeing the friends and family of Natsume kind of surrounding him, being like, Natsume is not being totally truthful with us, and he needs to be because we're his friends and family, so might lead to an intervention down the road. But I'm super excited because next week is going to be a 2-parter. We're going to be doing 2 episodes next week, which is exciting. The mods have told me I have permission to watch episodes 19 and 20 together, so I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what they'll be about, but I'm very excited to get there. So in any case, I'm also excited to hear your comments down below. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more of Natsume Yujin-Cho, Natsume's Book of Friends.